Thought I'd make a video. I haven't had made a video. I had a pretty fulfilling day. Uh, was hand feeding my first resident, and it was really delightful. The person had some serious brain malfunctions, brain damage, and still consciousness of what's going on. So you kind of look into their eyes and see the piece of awareness of them, of the individual. And there's been a couple times where I looked at some of the patients and it reminded me when I was a kid, the first time when I looked into my dad. And I remember looking at my father when I was a kid, and I mean, it like crushed me. I mean, I remember it crushed me in a way that I could not retain this sort of toughness not to cry. Like it crushed me in a way because you see the dissolvement of identity and just the existence of just still striving for life. But it's a very different understanding when you're 12 years old and you're very close to someone and he's your parent and wants the best for you, and then it's now the other way around. It's, he's in diapers now, he depends on me to defend him. But I do remember that, so I have a really great understanding. And I like to stay in the medical part of it because it's much more healthy and much more has better reasoning, in my opinion. And I definitely believe prayer and religion is very good, but it doesn't, in my opinion, meet the necessities of what it needs to have to be to medically heal people. And so that education is needed. There's a few topics we talked about: postmortem. There's all this psychology shit that's going on. I don't even feel like these classes are legitimate for shit, but I'm just doing my best and I'm going along with the program. So, we were talking about, there's someone that was a patient that had a resident that had passed away, I think a couple months ago. And, there's all kinds of different stuff that happens, and there's all kind. I mean, tell you, I literally spent like 3 or 4 years only looking and searching for videos of like people that and I read books of the afterlife and the follow the white light and what really happens when they go to hell, and I'm talking about, like, I would categorize it like it was a class. And so pass gas, I would categorize it to get an understanding. So you have to get a medical point of view, okay? And you have to talk to doctors. Doctors are always the best people to talk about this about because they're so scientifically and academically focused on that part of the mechanics. Many of them are, their belief of God is very different, if there is one, of a higher power. And it's even harder, I think, for doctors to believe in that because of the science they do know, the caliber of science that they know. And what they have to deal with on a pretty regular basis. So, and they were talking about, there's a resident who starts getting up and then goes to the restroom, and then, all of a sudden they have all this energy, which is, I've heard so many stories. I haven't seen it in real life. It is not something that, it's like the very much that I have, there's a person that I walk in and was a CNA for like 24 years. You could only imagine someone who's seen, CNA for 24 years, they've seen it all. And that's stuff that most people don't want to deal with. People have to deal with their parents and stuff like that. We all have to, most of us. And but for someone an employee to see that for a job, make a living and get a paycheck for it. But being a part of that, you have to be extraordinary, like superpower strong. You know, you have to be in just a very different place in life mentally to respectfully do that in a very good way. And you know, I'm not going to be a CNA for the rest of my life. It's not. You know, I want to be able to do much more sophisticated different places. But I definitely think everyone definitely needs. It's probably going to be a nurse. You know, is needed for that. But I say this because you know, I can't never explain enough every detail of every conversation and everything. It isn't because I'm being countered by it, because it's me being bitter, pissed off. It's about how they're turning me into a DJ or into doing a music career in entertainment when, you know, nobody's listening. Like, nobody fucking gives a 2 cents of shit anything I have to say. It's always preparation of, this is where I'm going to step, this is the next third step, fourth step, fifth step, this is how you target the specific emotions when somebody is raped by and infected with HIV, all these things. And it's so hard because I had seen my mother, you know, that they paid off everything, you know, whatever shit they wanted. My mother's intelligence to understand this is so minimally that by the time that they showed up in the picture and did the takeover, they knew they could condition it and then kill the kid. And that's what they did. That was me, you know. And they did this with my sister, you know. That's very disturbing because you don't understand when you know that, like, you know, I'm already a cancer patient. I've already experienced so much of this shit. You know, I'm living underneath a fucking bridge, and you're digging in a trash can for food, being spit, murder attempts, you know, beat up, fucking, you know, raped as a kid, you know, a few times, you know, as an adult in the public eye. I got all the worst nightmares. You know, you can imagine that probably someone that didn't deserve it. There's so many people that deserve horrible shit like this happen to them. And it's hard when people scavenge for the dead remains spirit of my dead sister when, you know, I don't want to talk about it. I don't like it, and it's just for the profitable gains for the Cooper family and for the movement and shifting to whatever they want. There's no sacred anything. I mean, this teacher, Olivia Burden, is just shitting in my sister's mouth repeatedly. And every spiritual essence, just smarter, great. I mean, it's so heinously disgusting that they think they're right with a better outcome of intelligence and this shit. Let me tell you, if I was talking like that, like, I mean, they fucking have me on the fucking floor, you know, pinned down in a fucking guillotine, you know, heels hooked in and shit, you know, and yet here I am, is just like, just shit-facing this little girl who didn't even have a burial, and it's about spiritual, who takes ownership of this credibility. It's just a profitable game, like a piece of meat. You know, somebody just shows up, vulture, and picks whatever meat they want to survive for the next day. There's no spiritual understanding. It's scavenging, and it's horrific because, like, we all experience death. We all experience these horrible things. But when you see a little kid, and it was like, didn't my sister, and I meet Michael Jackson, and all of a sudden this Dr. Dre and 50 Cent headphone deals. You know, I'm walking to school, and so these people have such a poor mental incline of what they think I was, or what a kid is in my position when I'm a kid. Like, I genuinely feel emotion. Like I'm going to church and I'm walking with my backpack on, and I would see this little girl walk on a bus, and I would think to myself, like, I'm spiritually and I'm mentally thinking of you, and we're going to school together. Don't worry, you're not alone. And I would remember that, and I would go to school and I would see shit and noodles and piss and vomit occasionally on the floor. and I'd see this little princess girl, you know, a long time ago. I mean, I was watching her get her ass kicked, you know, and she can't recognize like wrong from right. Like, she can't walk, she can't talk, she's like blind. Okay, my sister's, I don't know if she was 100% blind, but to my understanding, she was either at least partially blind. I couldn't tell the difference. Her eyes kind of looked blind. I mean, I don't think they really were, but I wasn't the expert. I just know that this person was just, this individual was just a kid and didn't get a proper burial. There wasn't flowers. My mom was just being ass fucked next door, raped, and they think that I was just some kid like Frankie or just a nuisance kid because you just didn't know. They have no fucking magnitude of the idea how often, like, to me, it was like, I gotta take care of mom. I gotta look at the window, make sure how she's talking to her. My mom don't know bad. And, I'm watching Diana, like, punk my mother all the fucking time. Like, you're stupid. Like, you're fucking stupid. I can take you, or take your fucking ass. And my mother is such a innocent and like, no, that's not how we behave. Like, she's a mother to everyone. And when Kenneth shows up and shits all over my fucking mother and her Cooper family, and then everyone to feel sorry for Kenneth and his just transgender fucking movement, like, it's like, this isn't about reaching out to God and Jesus for help. It's, I'm going to intentionally kill whatever I want because I know that's what I'm going to get away with. I'm going to send you that way for the profitable gain again. And I emotionally, spiritually feel good about that shit. Innocently. Like, to kill the innocent and just get the fucking profitable gain and shit out of my ass, for another excuse conversation. And see, in life, if you don't have anybody that listens, you don't have anything. You could be smartest person in the world or whatever, gifted in every way, but you're in the woods, who gives a shit? Like, how are you affecting the world? Like, how are you helping people? Like, what's going on? And so it's very hard because you have to be very careful with elder people like this and others as well, because they will contaminate your fucking head. It's so disgusting that you don't know whether, I don't know whether to, individual may not even understand, to even get mad at the person because the people that are listening ain't doing a fucking thing about it. The recording devices, the cameras, none of that shit. And it's very hard because my mother does not understand mentally. Like, when you get that level of abuse and somebody just buys the shit out, they don't care. You don't understand the level of work this shit I have to do. Like, they come and kill me, they fucking rape my brother, with 10 homosexuals, and we didn't do anything. We went to church, and, I got spanked if I didn't make good grades with my dad, my dad got pissed. Like, if I didn't make good grades, my dad would get mad at me at school. And, the brutality of watching a mother because it's very different when somebody doesn't know how to read and doesn't grow with the academics. Your survival instincts are going to be very manufactured very differently. So in this very position, when you have Michael Jackson on that table and you have President Barack Obama and all this other hype shit that's going on, they're going to know how to dissect your brain for a reasoning that's more rational and a favor for them. This is not going to be the mother that you think that you fucking were. They just pat you on your head and Swifty on your ass, and off you go. And when you start practicing death like that with your own child, that is a very toxic and nasty thing to do, because you will end up doing it to your other kids, and you will more likely gravitate to that idea and ideology. Now, my mother, after that little girl's death, my life was very different. Before that, and then after she had passed away, my mother cared, but it affected her. It affects a human being in such a core value way You know, like, and they don't give a shit. Somebody goes off and yeah, your life got better, you know, shit. It's just because of shit. All the shit, you know, shit again. And it's very hard, you know, because all this is about is me going to a music career, DJ, and they tell my mother to do the same shit again. And I understand how unfair this is, you know, like for other friends and other people that do get it, good for them. But you know, life is very short, and everybody says that, right? Um, you know, I think it's different. You know, it's when I say different, I'm like, you know, my mother's after this kid dies, I'm going to a nursing home to go to my father and then watch them people get old and die, and that was part of the situation. That's how life goes, but it's very unfair because there's all this speculation, and you know you don't want to fall in jealousy. Jealousy is very toxic, right? Oh, I should have gotten this in life, or I should have done that in life. You know, I should have. You know, if I loved more, oh God, Jesus is going to be pleased with me more. You know, who loves more? Who loves the emotion more? Who sacredly can scavenge secretly for it? You know, and it's so calculated that it's impossible for my mother to fucking understand. I mean, she just is like a trained dog. You know, you tell her to bite, she fucking bites. You know, you tell her to fucking put rat poison in Hector's food, she'll fucking do it. And you know, I mean, and it's not like it's difficult. I mean, even the twins, even her triplet sisters, they're not going to understand. And it's very sad because nobody gives a shit, and there's no justice to it. You know, they try to replace something. You know, my mother would be screaming in her head and crying from what these people were doing, these transgenders and shit, walking around, you know, fighting for Patricia, trying to change the mind, doing all these techniques, and you're vibrating this energy and thoughts and vibes of everything, and they start correlating together, like almost like packs of hyenas, but it doesn't become aggressive, it becomes emotionally hurting. And so when you know that hurting is negative, this is not popularity, like, you know, it becomes unfair, just an unfair feeling. You know, everybody believes in God, and everybody has their own perception of Jesus and what they think Jesus is and what we're supposed to do and learn and the process of it. And sometimes you have choices, and sometimes you don't have any choices. You know, in life, and but you do a lot of the times when it's going to be more comfortable to you. Like, this is my sister, and I could never explain the scavenging of fucking vulturizing this little girl. I could, of so many people that have done this to this little kid that has died so many years ago and now has done the movement for Michael Jackson and celebrities. There's so many deaths, so many kids, but this one got placed under the limelight, and the people and the things that people did to scavenge, especially the transgender community, was so horrific. Some of it was so fucking rotten I mean, it was like, God damn, like, you know, because, you know, there was no spiritual gravitation that people will do to that. What they'll do is I hear a spirit, your spirit tells me. Your spirit don't tell you shit. It ain't talking to you. Did it tell you what you were going to get out of it too? Like, but it feels very rich. And it feels very wealthy. And it's a security, and it's a blanket, and it's an assurance. It's, just, you know, that much more closer to God. My mother can't even get this little girl, give her little daughter a bath, let alone feed her or hug her or touch her. And now this is about how Kino out 790 be, you know, how he came through with just forgiveness and the angel story. Like, oh, Madison, or, you know, oh, this transgender community, Patricia was really just trying to help, you know, the little girl, like, and it correlates, and it's so sad. So for me, I have to always leave it up to Jesus. But like when you get this parasitical behavior, like the teacher doing this, and I know exactly what they're doing is, you know, it's just brain wrenching because my mother doesn't understand, and I'm alone in this. You know, when there's so much casualty and all this other stuff that's going on. Definitely don't want me to have that though. They ain't gonna get it, and it wasn't even them to begin with. And there's so many casualties. You know, they try to put themselves in the pool of Michael Jackson and claim a dead body, and then that's what they get. And you know, we never got. You know, I don't know how much or whatever was accumulated, but it wasn't free. You know, what my father went through as a veteran, like, you know, after. What I think also happened is I think so many people were house sitting and stole so much fucking money that when they stole all this money and shitted over everything, and then whoever said that, yeah, just stay in your house, you've been house sitting this whole time, you don't have to do shit, you got a free house your whole time, then they start accumulating a different type of credit that you can't replace and you can't battle with. So then it's just a different journey. But they're shitting on my family and immediate family and on me the entire time. Until it's time to point the finger at the president, and it's like, well, you can't really do anything about it. And it's so boiled in greed, selfishness, and I understand that forgiveness is the most powerful tool you're ever going to give. You know, I had a brother of mine that was in New York, and he told me this several times, is this forgiveness is something you give to yourself for the choices that you should have taken or could have had. Or anything else, but it's something you give to yourself, you know, and you know, it's a tough thing, you know, because you try to look at what goes on in the world, you know. I'm not in prison, you know, I could be sleeping on the streets again, I could be working an 8-hour job senselessly, but I know my life was laid out for me at a very young age. Like, there was a house for me. My dad wanted to give me shit, and everyone was stealing as much as fucking shit as they fucking could, and they did. Then when they got unraveled, these other parasitical motherfuckers wanted to show up and make excuses for it. You know, and then going after Frankie and going after Jillian to then clean up the excuses, and then it never ended. I'm 42 years old, and this person is scumming beyond anything that I can imagine about my mother, Frankie, Jillian, and making Keno feeling sorry for transgender piece of shit motherfuckers. And, oh, you're not supposed to cuss like that, but you know, the war in life is there's always a battle. There's always a battle to fight. You have to pick, choose which battles you want to fight, because you ain't gonna win all of them. And you know, it's tough. Stuff. I like my job. I think there'll be so much to it. The realities of life, you know, and you know, it makes me think of myself, my disease. You know, if I was HIV positive, I still haven't given a surprise yet. And I have to go throughout my life, and I feel like I'm facing, you know, at times like I'm just sort of in the same death position, you know, and it's just like you know, first it was cancer, chemotherapy, then it's the only person on planet Earth with AIDS, and I'm supposed to just sit here and just, oh yeah, you know, whatever, thank you for what? You know, and, you know, so much of this, as I talked about, that's so terrifying, is the calculation and preparation of it was terrifying. Because it was so thought out in how it was going to steal and take. You know, this wasn't like, oh, I made a mistake, and no, this was like, okay, Hector's vulnerable here, Frankie was being raped here, his mom's really stupid, just put some food in her mouth and get her pregnant, and shift it over here when she has the babies. Oh, cute, twins right there. Now take Frankie over there. Okay, we'll execute over there with the community. Take Hector over there, and then send Kenneth over there, and then we'll go ahead and Madison right over there with Taylor Swift, and then Taylor Swift. Oh, 50 Cent, oh, that'd be perfect, and then we'll change, and everything in between. It's like a racial movie. When you have homosexuals and transgenders, they always gravitate toward that shift of that favoritism. They're not going to be barbaric like straight guys go after straight guys' throats. Like fucking, you know, it's just not going to happen. Like if a straight guy catches a fucking other straight guy fucking raping a little girl, it's like a fucking monkey war. You're biting fingers off, and you're fucking plucking eyes out and ripping their fucking noses, and just peeling off meats off of them. You want to kill them, and you know, it's not that with the transgender and LBG. It's like, oh, it's just forgiveness again. You know, it's just like let it pass by. No, you keep making me pass gas, and I can feel. As even I'm talking around this video this whole time, how it just squirts of like farts and passing gas. But yeah, I think it's important. You know, there's a lot to learn. We still got to do charts, which I'm really looking forward toward, to get an idea, precautions, and all the different steps to sort of take care of patients, their nutritional value. Like today, I think one of the residents I was working on feeding, gave them I think 3 or 4 glasses. I said three, but I think they had 4. Little tiny glasses, just little tiny glasses of apple juice. And, you know, it's always good to know, you know, because I think to myself, you know, it's good to have a good time. You know, man, you have some apple juice, you know, or maybe a good glass of soda or some orange juice or something like that. Some good apple pie. It's beautiful to be able to enjoy these types of things that you take for granted, and because the quality of their life is very enhanced, and it is a very nice nursing home. But is to give them the quality. I know this is probably not the best example, but my uncle did this to my dad once when it was like a couple of years before he died, and I got scared. I thought he just killed my dad, but he fucking put vodka. I think it was like liquor. He put some kind of liquor, and I'm gonna say I don't think it was vodka. I think he put tequila. He put some tequila or some type of liquor in his drink to get my dad drunk, to have a good time. And he was at my uncle's, and he said, "Yeah, I just put a little bit in there, man. You better live it up, man. He's an old man, you know. Life is short." And it wasn't like necessarily a bad thing. It's just giving the understanding to favor life. You know, have a candy bar. You know, favor life. You know, at that age, you're taking so much medication and you live so much of your life. You probably don't have very many residents come visit you. You probably don't have so many residents that visit you. It's nice to be able to give them a good quality of life sometimes, you know. Get you an extra apple juice. But I got to be a little more observative, so I'm looking forward to doing more charts, see how they do the charts. You know, take a look at each resident. You know, ins and outs, little notes in here for the day. If there's any falls, how, you know, those get documented. And diseases, precautions for residents, because I've been working there and I'm feeding these people like I did today, but I haven't looked even at the precaution sheet. I haven't looked at the charts yet, and I was already asking them. I was like, you know, so it's really good. So you kind of get adapt, you kind of get a feeling of, you know, how the residence is, but it's a very real place of the ending of many of these people's lives. They did get to live their lives, very fulfilling, and now they're in a stage where they're in a home. And it could be me, and it will be me one day. You know, that's how kind of life happens, you know? And, you know, stuff, my mother's getting older. I know that she has, you know, you can't replace that time anymore. And it's very difficult, because that's why this whole toxic shit happened. Because they want the bad to happen in the way that they did for the team member to do it, and then it's just execute and talk words over it, and you can't, you know, for my mother to have gotten a handsome man like that, was very difficult and rare. And having me, and it's not likely in my mother's position for something like that to have happened. And when you take the only thing away that, my mother could have possibly had children, and now they have, she would have had children, more triplets, or knowing that the children I could have had in life would have been of her blood spring, her blood offspring. She would have been a grandma, would have made her feel really special. So what they'll do is they'll make an exchange, get Marco to have a baby and take a little baby over there. Oh, it's grandma now, and it's all this other shit. Oh, we just fix it over with this. But it's not jealousy, it's how they're just cleaning up. It's not the jealousy part. Oh, you're just jealous. No. It's, okay, execute and then do that. And then execute and then do that. Take away, do that. Take away and then clean it up with that. And, there's not much of a fight my mother has anymore. It's a very different, it's a very, very minimal and poor understanding. And they got their brain function in court down to my mother, and it's very sad. It's painful because, but it's the nature of life, It's easier said than done. We don't know what happens. And if anything, that why some and don't others. And, I think it's too early for that. I love to keep things better just to be positive and let them be themselves and in the atmosphere. Just go about their business, right? Do our job and, keep it rolling. And that's probably one of the best ways to deal with it. I didn't ever think I was going to be working in a nursing home this nice, this well. I really genuinely, all I was thinking, even in class and before class, was CNA is working in like the ghetto nursing homes, like the no carpet and just real bad nursing homes where there was no accommodation really to anything. They got one TV, and it's like a 1980s TV in the lobby. They got one box of Kleenex for all the residents in one aisle instead of a box of Kleenex for all the rooms. They're on a tight budget, They don't all eat lunch at the same time because there's not enough tables and chairs, there's, the janitor shows up maybe once a week. I wasn't thinking of working in a place like this, let alone, I could only imagine how much these people probably make, as a CNA. Even if it is a CNA, how much people probably make it is taking care of individuals. And I definitely think I've always, believe you be very blessed to be worked there for many years and be good at it. Healthy spiritually, very spiritually strong and healthy. You have to be. You can't be in that, because it's not like a nurse and it's not like doctors or other, because they see, if not more, of the bad. And when I say bad, we all, including all the CNAs and nurses, we're all going to go one day. And we want to think and believe, and it is healthy, that there is something beautiful that we didn't understand as human beings, that had a greater understanding of existence, of our purpose on earth, that loved us very much, and whatever it was and whatever which way, that we still continue it as an existence of consciousness and what we call human spirit. Human existence. Man, making me pass gas is crazy. So, yeah, we want to think of that. And it's not a very pretty sight. Like, we watched the video of a guy he looked like Mr. Morosky. and this guy was like dying, and he was taking. They would call, I think they call it Shinny. It's like CHEYE, but they're like breathing, rapid breathing to then slow breathing, and it happens to almost all patients that are getting close to death, and they're very old or cancer. They start sort of breathing very heavy, and then it stops, and then they start breathing very strong, and it's sort of they're sort of out of it. And when you see something like that, we're watching a little bit of that video, but when you watch something like that on a human being, you think of all the things that go on in this world. I mean, think about it's hard for any of us to grasp the magnitude of all the human beings on Earth, that the existence that we're living in, the era that we're living in. And every year there's people that pass away, and they have all these experiences, and we all have brains at different magnitudes, where people are just so blessed and so loving and kind to the world is the opposite to this world. It's so gross and disgusting, and deformities and different journeys in existence in this planet that we live in. But we all share a common trait, without a doubt, as a human trait, a human special molecular organism that is contained, and we're contained with this spirit, or this soul, this magnificent, that this has a greater understanding. And so yeah, it becomes very. I haven't experienced that. I can't tell you that I wouldn't run out of a room if I saw something. If I have to participate, and that is the job title, I will. I will do my job. That is my job. If I work in an assignment or something like that, and it is my duty, I am working there, I would do it to the best of my degree and to the best of spiritual practice, and respectful as best as I can, as strong as I can, if it's called upon my duty to do so. It's something. I think it does add a lot of extra bonus, because for people that get to see that, you understand that, even if it's hard as it is, because we're all gonna go one day. But for people that go to work every day and sort of live this, a mental thought of what God is and the afterlife, not actually seeing death like that, your perceptions and understanding become very difficult. Not difficult, very different from the person that gets to experience. There's like sometimes more of a bigger gap of the reality. So you live more in a comfort of fantasy that then is sort of transitioned to belief, and the comfortability belief, which is very healthy and very good. You ever seen somebody with just the unbelievable passion of just the desire of a dream? You see these people like, America's Got Talent, or these talent shows. Sometimes you'll see them. You come across people that just have, and there really isn't any science to it, and it is very magical. It is. You look at it, it's like you hear Mike Tyson. When he talks about it, it sounds magical. It sounds it sounds like a fantasy world, or not necessarily just fantasy, but it has like a, like the magic in life really does happen. When you hear stories like that, like the way they talk, and they're very uneducated, and they just sort of follow this path in life, like there was a God or something, and you almost kind of want to believe them more than you do any science or any religion, and I'm really looking forward to work. I hope this goes well. I'm not off the hook. I have to pass the exams, and I have to pass clinicals. I've already went to school earlier today to take a look at PCT classes. So I'm probably going to have to move down as far south of Dallas at Cedar Valley, or yes, Cedar Valley College. They have a PCT class there for 12 weeks, 6 weeks clinicals, 6 weeks classes, and 6 weeks clinicals. And I'll have to find out. Damn, I forgot to ask them what hours and days of the week too. Okay, so I have to go there, and they have one in fall, which starts September 1st. So right after I finish these classes, I literally have like a month. So like I'll have to immediately find a place, maybe get to work 2-3 weeks. I don't even think I'll even have maybe 2 weeks. If I go to a place and work for 2 weeks, I'll work there for 2 weeks and I have to quit and tell them I have to leave for school or whatever it is. I have to tell them some sort of excuse just to be able to get a little bit of money and then, jet out because I have to go to school, PCT. That way I have this certificate and that certificate. So for the next period of time, I can, get a job assignment, CNA, and then do a job assignment. Probably not. They don't have job assignment traveling for PCTs, only for CNAs. But I can do like a CNA position and then say, oh, okay, well I'm gonna go back to Dallas, and then I'll work as a patient care technician at Providence Hospital or whatever it is. There is no doubt in my mind of all the experiences I had with my father, with my aunt, my mother, going to Children's Medical Center, my illness, that everything is just so, like, I should have been doing this a long time ago. I should have been doing this a long time ago and, like, built for it. The knowledge, just the surroundings, and I was working hard labor jobs, in dusty, dirty environments, and just the personality and existence that I had, it just fits so well in this field of work. But nobody wants to listen to the story. You don't understand. They know that once this guy figures out, love with the girl and what women are really like, off he goes into this wonderland of success. And they know this, so they have to then execute before that happens. And that's why it's always a very calculating, smarter than you, sabotage on you, smarter than you again later. Anyway, yeah, so I'm looking to participate in this class, so I don't know yet. I could wait after fall. I really don't want to. It starts September 1st. We're in July. So once I finish these classes the last week of July, which is like July 21st or July 22nd, I'll have a week before the month ends, so I can maybe then tell the owner here I want to move out. I got to find a place to live in near Cedar Valley, so I can take a bus, something cheap, hopefully, with a bed like this and like a desk, and then go for 12 weeks. And so that'll be really great. I'm really looking forward toward that too. It'll be winter, so I'll get to focus on this medical stuff during the winter. Put on some winter clothes and get ready for school. So it'd be a different feel than what I'm doing now. It's 100 degrees outside every day and not going to school. So that'll be pretty exciting as well. And but yeah, I'm doing my best and praying to God that I can be successful. Everything turns out really great. So I gotta go shit right now.